Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be going over how to create a Zenphi flow that can automatically turn information from a Google Sheets into a Google Doc. So let's go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to show you the Google Sheet that I'll be using for this example. It's a really simple spreadsheet where it has information for a student, their grade, what teacher they have, and it's going to be inserting that information into a Google Doc template that looks like this. As we can see, it's a welcome letter for the new school year, so we do have to introduce their name, the grade, and their teacher to make sure it's as personalized as possible. Now, the first step to any Zenphi flow is to set up your trigger. The trigger is the action that's going to initiate your flow. In this case, we'll be using the manual trigger, meaning you have to click to start the flow process. This also means there is no setup, but feel free to check out other triggers if another trigger might work better for you. There's one for Google Form submissions, for adding files to a Google Drive, so you can check out the other examples if one of them may be better for you. Now, the first action or step that we have here is called read rows. I renamed it to read each row. What it's going to be doing is it's going to be reading the entire spreadsheet. Here you have to let it know which file and which sheet. Now, so you can do that, you do have to set up the connection to your Google Sheet. This is going to grant Zenphi permission to be able to access a document and be able to read each row, each column. So to do that, you just have to click on this icon here, create new connection, and it can be a private or shared connection. Once you have that, you can select on the Google Drive icon here and select your file from your Google Drive. And if there is more than one sheet, if you click on this icon, you'll be able to see which options that you can select the one that you wish to use. Now, scrolling down, we can select if we wish to look at all the rows, maybe a certain range of rows only, and also let it know if your sheet has a header. If you do have headers on your sheets, make sure to click load headers so that you can see each column with its specific name, and you can assign a name for each one of those variables where we'll be replacing the placeholder. As the next step, I added this action called create folder. It's going to be creating a folder in my Google Drive. This is going to hold the Google Doc of each one of the students at the end. So I named it Final Student Letters, and you just have to choose where you wish to save the folder. Again, set up the connection to be able to access your drive, and you can also check this option called check if exists just to make sure you don't create duplicate folders. And now we're actually going to be doing the process of filling out the letter for each student. To be able to do that, we're going to use this action called for each loop. What this is going to do is it's going to repeat the process for each one of the students. So for as many rows as there are, it's going to be repeating the process. So if we go back to our spreadsheet, there's 3 students. It should be doing the process 3 times. And in this case, to be able to select each student, you have to click on the token picker, read each row, and each row is going to be taken as its own separate student. So once we have that, we're going to be generating our letter. First, set up the connection, select which file you wish to use as a template. In this case, this is the one I'll be using. And you have to select a file name. You can personalize this by using the token picker, going to the for each loop, and you can look at the grade, the name, and the teacher of each student. So if you use the name, you can see exactly whose letter it is without opening the document. Generate PDF if needed. You can also generate the HTML. And here you have to load the different placeholders. So you have to let it know which information it's going to be putting in which spot. To do that, you just have to do the exact same thing that we did for the name. So if you open up the for each, you can look at the name, the grade, and the teacher. So just submit that information in whichever value it belongs. And lastly, all I'm going to do is save the file to the drive, meaning each file is going to be saved individually to the folder that I created at the beginning. So first you set up your connection. You select which file you wish to upload, in this case the PDF file, and which folder, the one that I created at the beginning in the drive folder action. You can use the folder ID, and it would be repeating those processes until it's done completely with all the students. So if you add 10 students, it would repeat its process 10 times. If it's only 2, it would only do it twice. So let's go ahead and save and test run and start new instance and start. As you can see here, it's going through the first student. It's generating the letter. Now it's moving on to the second letter because it has saved the first one to the Google Drive. Now it's saving the second one. Okay, after it's generated the third letter, it has exited out. It has finished going through the entire flow. So let's go ahead and open our drive. And here we have our folder, Final Students Letters, that was created inside of the flow. And if we open it, we have a letter for each one of the students with their name in the title. And if we open the document, we'll be able to see that it put their name, the grade, and their teacher. And it's customized for each one of the students. Remember, Zenphi is super customizable, so feel free to check out our YouTube channel as well if you wish to learn how to use different actions, implement them into your flow, or even use different triggers to be able to make your process smoother. Thank you so much for watching.